Good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And I've been wanting to try a reaction video for quite a while, but I've been waiting for that special video that spoke to me. I want to go ahead and watch it with you, kind of record it. I'm really not sure how this is going to work, if the sound's going to come through, but we're going to give it a shot. So there was a video that I saw on CNBC today. The heading was, "Couple retired at 38. They've been retired since the 90s, and they retired on only 500 grand. I thought this video was interesting because when I think of retirement and all the numbers that I have seen people talk about having seven figures, in this particular instance, they retired 30 years ago with 500 grand. So it'll be interesting to see, right? Do they do the 4% rule? What have they done with their portfolio? Maybe do they have side hustles and they're talking about just leaving? Did they move? I mean, there are so many questions I have, right? They retired at 38. They had 500K to their name when they did that. And it's been 31 years. So, or 38 years, maybe. I don't remember. Something like that. So I don't know. I'm going to watch this with you. We're going to watch it together. I have got it past the ad. So I watched the 15-second ad. So we won't have to do with that. But let me go ahead and bring it up and, let's see what happens. Let's see if this works. Actually, nope, sorry about that. I need to stop sharing. I learned that what I have to do is share. I apologize. I have to hit this button and this button. Got it. Okay. Share. Here we go. I'm sorry about that. So here we go. We're going to watch this video together. As you can see, they retired 38 years ago. Akasha and Billy. Again, they retired with 500 grand 30 years ago. So let me make this bigger. Let's hit play and let's see what they have to say.
This is my lovely wife, Akasha. We retired January 91. We're into our 31st year.
The 68-year-old Caterleys have spent the last 30 years of retirement bouncing around between the U.S., Mexico, and Thailand.
So far, so good, right? Retired 38, but doing it 30 years, lived in the US, Mexico, and Thailand. So far, I'm interested. Let's see how they did it.
Former restaurateurs didn't decide to retire early until after they turned 30.
Billy, initially when I met him, was a trained French chef. So he worked in a lot of places in Michelin star restaurants and so on. And his big dream was to open up his own restaurant. We met and we went to France. And he cooked over in France. And we came home and bought a restaurant and ran that for 10 years.
One of the couple's customers offered Bill a job as a stockbroker. His drive and attention to detail as a Michelin star chef translated well to asset management.
Wow. He was a Michelin star chef running his own restaurant. One of his customers says, "I think you'd be good at stocks and trading." Really? Okay. All right, let's see what happens.
And so I excelled. I led the office in new accounts every month. From the first month I came back from training, and then after 3 years, they gave me my own office. And so then I was branch manager, and I was managing a fair amount of money for my age. I was the youngest branch manager in their system at the time.
Between the restaurant and the brokerage, the Caterleys were making more money than ever.
I was running the restaurant still, working nights, weekends, and holidays. And Billy was working Monday through Friday, getting off at 1 in the afternoon, going to the beach. And
so she was still busting her butt in the restaurant, working nights and weekends. And he was getting off work at 1 and only working Monday through Friday. That's that would be uncomfortable, I think.
And that didn't set real well.
It didn't sit real well.
So he came to me with this idea of selling everything and traveling the world. And I thought it was kind of a harebrained idea and he'd forget about it, but he didn't, and here we are.
Caterley applied everything he'd learned over the last 3 years to come up with a bulletproof retirement plan.
We took 2 years to plan this. We didn't just come on, I didn't come home for education one day and said, okay, we're gone. No, we took 2 years. We discussed it. We tried to poke holes in this plan every way we could, and everything seemed to always come out on the top side. So what we did is we figured out if we could just limit our spending below what we could earn in the market, then what was left over would go back into the market.
So folks, I didn't know this was going to go here, but this is exactly what's in my course called Get Your Money Right. You got to understand, you know, what you're spending. And if you can really ratchet that down, you don't really have to make that much more money to be financially free. So it sounds like they went in and probably did some kind of budgeting. And again, he was an investor at this point, I guess, stocks and I guess ETFs or funds or whatever they were. And he's like, hey, if we spend X, but we make X plus, we're financially free. So sounds like their 500K was probably their nest egg, which they were trying to generate returns from. And then they would just live on the returns and never go below the 500. That's what it kind of sounds like so far.
Market or stay in the market and continue to grow. It's, compounding.
The couple retired in 1991. Now, when people retire early, many use the 4% rule, a principle that wasn't established until 1994.
I saw from my experience at the brokerage business how much money other retirees whose money I was managing had. And I said, I got more than they got. And so I started, thinking and said, well, maybe this.
I'm just thinking about this, right? Again, 500 grand put away at 38. That's obviously quite impressive. I'm going to guess some of that came from their restaurant sales and some of that nature. I'm guessing that's what happened. They sold that, made some money, but still it's empowering to think that if you really wanted to, and you're willing to manage your expenses, or as I say, get your money right, you might be able to retire a lot earlier, assuming you make some sacrifices, live below your means, all of those things. But this has certainly got me thinking.
This is possible. Maybe I don't need to sit here until the end. And then, like I said, we knocked holes in the occasion. I challenged each other. We had numerous what we call high-level discussions.
High volume discussions. I like that. I'm going to steal that. High volume discussions.
We had a few of those.
To settle on a goal, the couple would first need to know exactly how much money they spent every year.
The first thing we did was we tracked our spending because we needed to know how much we were spending for our lifestyle that we were currently living. And so what we did is we diligently went back through a few years prior, and then we started tracking them for the 2 years after.
Folks, again, I didn't know where this video was going, but in the Get Your Money Right course, $99, a big part of that is understanding time and using price tags to turn into time. But also it's about understanding your budget, setting a goal, and then tracking your actuals. It sounds like they tracked actuals pretty diligently for a couple of years. That allows them to say, hey, honey, we just need X, and can we get X out of the market? This is the plan that I think they're putting together here. Yeah, it's pretty encouraging to see that you don't need $1 million. At least that's what I'm hearing so far.
How much we were spending. And when we eliminated our cars, our house payment, insurances, clothing for the work apparel, and the lunches out, we came that we were only spending about $20,000 on ourselves.
Okay, wait a minute. Time out. 2 people, they were roughly 40 years old. They only spend 20 grand a year. What is that? That's not even 2 grand a month. But he said he took out car, house, and clothes for work. So clothes for work can't be much, but I'm wondering why he's taking out I guess because he's going to live somewhere else. I guess that's why. So you don't need a mortgage, don't need insurance. I mean, I spend more than 2 grand a month on health insurance. That's 20 grand. Really? That's what he said, right? 20 grand. Oh my God.
Caterly figured if he could save 25 times his annual spend, or $500,000, they would have enough money to retire.
Back then, ETFs weren't around either. Yeah, this is the dark ages, man.
Right, the dinosaurs.
So we had Vanguard accounts, and we started buying Vanguard SPY, which is now SPY, Index 500 fund. Then we switched everything over to ETFs back in the 2007, 2008.
Caterly's initial nest egg of $500,000 has grown to over $1 million, outpacing inflation while funding their retirement through a series.
So wait a second. So they start at 500. They only need 20 grand a year. And over that time, their nest egg has grown to $1 million. That's interesting. 30 years, had a couple of bear markets in there. And That's interesting. Okay.
Of recessions.
We were invested in 1987 when the market went down 20+% in one day. So, you know, that'll put a crease in your pants, I'm telling you. You know, so
that's great.
Yeah.
Crease in your pants.
And then again in 91, right in there was another big hit. And then 2000, remember Y2K? Oh my goodness, yeah. And then we had the 2007 and 8 recession.
The 2008 recession was the only time the couple ever considered re-entering the workforce.
And that 2008-9, I think that was the first and last time we had that discussion, because it was our biggest hit since retirement. And when we thought about it, we'd have to.
I wonder how big a hit it was. I mean, maybe they're going to tell us. I have no idea. But 2007, that would be what, 20 years they were doing? No, 17 years of retirement at this point. They'd proven it worked. I bet you it had to be a 50% haircut to have that conversation. Yeah, I bet you it had to be 50%. Let's see if they say.
To get to a place, live in a place where we could find employment, then we'd have to buy a car. And then we'd be back into that whole spending thing of how much it costs to work.
The Caterleys now help others to retire early, and their best advice comes down to 2 rules.
I would say to invest as soon as you can, as young as you can, get started now. To monitor your spending, that tracking spending.
Monitor your spending. A lot of people look at my Get Your Money Right course and think it's a budgeting course. It's not. It's get your families, you know, like you're the CEO of your family, or your family is a business, maybe is the way to look at it. You have your own income statement. We sometimes just fly by the seat of our pants, and money comes in, money goes out. That's not how you set up financial independence. It's not how you get a big disposable income number. It's not how you set yourself up for success.
It's really important, because if you don't know where your money is going, you put it in your wallet and then it's gone.
You got to learn your own finances. And you got to think of yourself as a business, and you're the CEO of your own business.
I just said that.
Your financial health. So look at it that way, and get invested as early as you can for the young guys. Get in the index funds, and 10, 20 years down the road, you're gonna whoa.
Wow, that was pretty cool. So hopefully that worked. Obviously, I'm going to test it now, but yeah, I thought that'd be a great video to do a reaction on. Again, they retired at 38. Wouldn't we all love that? They only had 500 grand. Lots of us think it takes $1 million. And they really did it. They tracked their spending. They planned it. They moved forward. I do got to question that 20 grand though. Could you live on 20 grand a year? I don't think I could live on 20 grand a year. But hey, they've been doing it for 30 years. So good for them. Thank you, CNBC, for sharing that. It's always great stuff. Take care, everyone.